What's up, everybody? Welcome to Championship Sunday, or I guess, welcome to the conclusion of Championship Sunday. I'm IHOLDSHIFT. You're you. This is the CWL Recap. I imagine most of you know the results, so we're going to kind of fly through this. We could sit here and talk about these games and all of the clutch comebacks, the clutch plays on Search and Destroy, Control. We could do this for hours if we did this together and just break everything down of all these perennial matchups, but nobody wants to watch a YouTube video for that long. So let's just get into it. We're going to recap what happened after yesterday as we set up the day today for Championship Sunday, and then of course we'll break down what actually happened. So let's take a look back at what the winners bracket looked like. Again, these were the top two teams out of the pool play from Thursday and Friday, and most of Saturday. The United, Straight Ribbon, Luminosity, OpTic, Lightning Pandas, Team Sween, Splice, and Evil Geniuses. The results are there, leaving us with the E United versus OpTic matchup and the Team Sween versus Splice matchup in the winners bracket. That will start our day off today. Down in the losers bracket, though, again, just to give you a recap of what happened there, a lot of these matches were played off of stream after the event was, for the most part, already over. You go all the way down back to what teams came out of the open bracket, most notably Team Revenge coming out. This was they were in the US national qualifiers, sat in the middle of the pool, kind of for the most part when it came down to the 2Ks. And then you also take a look at FaZe Clan Black. And then, of course, your play-in teams of Tainted Minds and the Imperial trying to make their way back through the losers bracket. Of course, you can see the results as they stand throughout. The last set of rounds that would happen would be the rounds with UIU, Team Envy, and the FaZe Clan Reciprocity, 100 Thieves, G2, Pittsburgh Knights Reserve. That's the round 3 losers bracket matchups. They got done super late. But let's go in and take a look at what actually happened today. Of course, we started things off up top with E United versus OpTic Gaming, and this was an insanely close first match, as it was E United taking a very definitive start on hardpoint. And this is going to be a trend, so keep up with it because it's the way it goes. OpTic would come back in incredible fashion, making this a 250 to 245 first game on hardpoint.
Fighting all of the kills! A lightning strike for Clay! I can't believe what we're witnessing! Number 9, Cap is already rotated! United! Are you serious right now? An unbelievable comeback! Down almost 100 points! Karma pushing into the hill! OpTic they need to win the fight! Karma! Grab! Oh my god! What was that?
First game on hardpoint, they would win the search and destroy convincingly. They would lose the control pretty convincingly at a 3-0 scoreline, and then they would clutch out again against United after again having a slow start on hardpoint. They would win at 250 to 197. So that's that 3-1 scoreline that you see there. Team Sween and Splice, well, unfortunately for Team Sween, it did not look like they were ready to take on the big dogs of Splice. They would be irked out rather convincingly, I guess we'll say, as you take a look at it. That was actually the first game of the day. It was a full 3-0 for Splice in convincing fashion, 250 to 150 in the hardpoint, 6-1 in the search and destroy, and then 3-1 in the control. So we'll switch down. We'll finish out the, well, you know what? Let's just finish out the rest of the winners bracket, shall we? Might as well. Let's just finish it out. So OpTic Gaming would take on Splice. And goodness gracious, this was absolutely an insane matchup that lasted all 5 games. Splice would take the first hardpoint in very convincing fashion, 250 to 86, and then they would also take the search and destroy, just narrowly irking out OG at a 6-5 scoreline. OpTic would swing back with a 3-0 control, and you could start to feel the momentum shift just a bit, but it wasn't before a very dramatic hardpoint that started off with an 88 to 190 favoring Splice. It would eventually get to a 205 to 247 at one point, and OpTic would come back and find themselves the 45 points straight and win that map 250 to 247, and then another really clutch play coming out throughout the search and destroy map 5. So that would go OpTic's way. They would reach the grand finals and send Splice fighting for their lives in the losers bracket, which is where we will head next. And we got to go backwards a little bit before we get to that championship bracket. You're going to see again here up top, Lightning Pandas Team Envy would start off the day, and would be Lightning Pandas taking a nice win against Team Envy. Again, it was a little back and forth throughout most of it. It was actually a really close set up until the last hard point where Lightning Pandas just inched ahead. They won that last hard point 250 to 172. Big moves from them. Evil Geniuses would take advantage of a very tired Reciprocity squad, a 3-1 scoreline there. That was off stream, so we didn't get a chance to really watch that, but it was EG winning 3 maps straight after losing the first hard point. Luminosity and 100 Thieves. Goodness, 100 Thieves. What in God's name happened? This was not a very close set for the most part. It was 250 to 156 in the hard point, 6-4 on the search and destroy. It would go 3-2 in favor of 100 Thieves on the control, but 250 to 75 to finish off the day. 100 Thieves left reeling after that. And then Straight Rippin' would take care of Red Reserve in mostly easy fashion. It was a pretty close game at the very end of the last hard point. Red Reserve tried to make a comeback on the hard point to send it to 5, but they would not be able to do so, which will leave us with Lightning Pandas taking on Evil Geniuses and Luminosity taking on Straight Rippin'. And as you see it here, Lightning Pandas would be able to defeat Evil Geniuses, who honestly just looked like they had a very strong Friday and not much else past that, to be completely honest. They definitely made a good showing, and there's definitely a lot of improvement on that team, but not quite ready to put themselves in contest for that top 4 slot that was so coveted this tournament. Luminosity would then put themselves in a very close 5-game set going up against Straight Rippin', and it was mostly back and forth, not super close. The control was really, really fun to watch. It was a 3-2, did favor Straight Rippin'. It was a very, very close match. A couple of kills here, a couple of kills there. And that'll put us into our championship bracket. And E United, having dropped down from their winners semifinals, would be playing up against Lightning Pandas. Team Sween would be playing up against Luminosity. And this would go pretty convincingly for both of the North American teams. It was a good showing from Team Sween and Lightning Pandas. They weren't up to the task of taking down the Goliaths of E United or Luminosity. It was a pretty close 4-game set between Luminosity and Team Sween for the most part, but it did look rather convincing for LG throughout. It was a 3-0 control, 6-2 search, and then 250 to 140 hard point to finish 3 maps straight for LG, which would put E United and Luminosity up against each other in the 4th place matchup. Again, both those teams having secured themselves into the Pro League, and top 4 got that invite into the Pro League, so that would be what was obviously the most coveted prize here at the event. E United would be able to handle Luminosity at a 3-1 scoreline, as you see OpTic Gaming and the Splice scoreline just is repeated up there up the top. But this was an interesting set simply because, again, EU and LG had a lot of back and forth. E United making an incredible clutch comeback on the hard point, 250 to 248. LG would take the search and destroy. E United would outlast LG then on the control and the follow-up hard point. But goodness, these opening hard point maps have been absolutely close and intense between all of these teams. So then E United would take it up against Splice. And for me, this was potentially, I don't want to say the match of the tournament, but it's pretty darn close. It was a very good game. The scorelines weren't super close together, but I think just the prowess that these teams showed really kind of goes to, bode to where the Call of Duty scene is going to be moving towards. Control was well thought out from both teams. Splice did a very good job handling it, though. The hard points swapped between both teams, and then the search and destroys were very close. 6-3, 6-4 were the scores there. United would inch it out and try to get some revenge against OpTic Gaming. The grand finals, best of 5 again with the potential of a reset. And how about OpTic Gaming starting off down early on the hard point? At one point, it was 120 to 236, and Seaside just seems to be ringing the bells for OpTic. They came out and clutched again.
His teammates there, they now just need 13 more points. Plenty of time to hold on. They're spawning out. The Tempest is in. OpTic Gaming looks like they're going to do it. It looks like they're going to do it. 3 seconds remaining. Get off the map. They've done it. The comeback is alive and well.
Over 100 points nearly straight. 250 to 246 was the final. Go back and watch it. Insane gameplay on Seaside Hardpoint. Then the search and destroy would be clutched out. It would be a 6-3, and then even though the control reads as a 3-0, it did come down to just the last couple of kills here and there. So OpTic Gaming, they will be your champions for the Las Vegas Open, including the MVP award going to Dashy. Well deserved. He was an absolute monster, although it's hard to take away from anybody on any of the rosters that finished in the top 4. Everybody in those top 4 played extremely well. Big shout outs to Splice, who came out swinging against OpTic. But again, OpTic only lost 5 maps. That's insane. 5 maps. That's it. 4 of which would be lost to Splice. So if that doesn't tell you something about how close Splice really was to this OpTic squad, I don't know what does, but United seem to have their number. But that's all we got. The next event that will be coming up is the Pro League qualifiers, the play-ins for that. That'll be happening to determine who the final 12 teams will be for the Call of Duty 2019 Pro League. That'll be held in Columbus, Ohio on the 16th of January going to the 20th. And there will be a number of really awesome teams that showed up throughout the Open here in Las Vegas. So keep an eye out for that. Throughout this next couple of weeks, I'm going to be going back and doing some commentary over the games that were not casted. So if there were games that you want to see, please go down to the comments and let me know which games those would be. And I'm also going to be taking a look at all the different roster changes that are very much so going to be happening, just to kind of keep you guys on your toes. And eventually, here in the next week or so, we're going to have a little conversation about the state of what is currently GA'd and if that should change. A little bit of a discussion there. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can come back and join me in the conversation for that. I've been Shift. That's been the Las Vegas Open. I need to go get some sleep. I don't even know. The last 72 hours, you've probably watched about 50 hours of gameplay and video editing. But I do, before we leave, I want to give you guys, yes, you, a huge shout out. The channel and the videos that we put up have been getting an insane amount of support from you guys, and I really do appreciate you guys coming out and supporting and getting your recaps here. I know you can go to a lot of places, so it means a lot. All the positive comments, it really does mean a lot to me. I really do appreciate you guys very much. Continue to expect the same kind of coverage throughout the entirety of the season, and of course, make sure you tune in later this week for some of those rebroadcasts with some casting over the top. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's been a pleasure sticking with you guys this weekend. Again, if you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a comment below or just hit me up on Twitter to say you like it. Anything helps, and it just lets me know that you guys enjoy the content. If you don't enjoy the content, well, that's fine too, I suppose. I'm getting tired, okay? I'm going to bed. You can't stop me. No, you can't. I've been me, you've been you. This has been the recap. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and until next time, hope that you keep holding it down. Later, bye-bye.